Okay, this week's going to be a little bit haphazard because we are going away on holidays. We are off to Tenerife, but my goal is to do a little bit of training while I'm there because this race isn't getting any further away. So I am going to have to continue doing some training. The water is going to be much nicer over there than it is in Ireland. So I'm going to work on my swimming a little bit. We do have a nice swimming pool, which is a 50-meter swimming pool in our hotel. So that's going to be brilliant to be able to, what are you doing up there? To be able to work in the swimming pool, work on my swimming when it's not freezing temperatures and I'm not going to have to wear a wetsuit. We are down by the beach, so you will see some footage of that throughout this video of this week. We are going to be down on the prom, so I am going to at some stage get out for a run, whatever length that might be. Maybe I'll be doing multiple runs out on the beach, but I'm not going to get on a bike. I'm not likely to rent a bike just to go and work on that this week. So I'll work on that when I get back. But we'll see. Hopefully there will be a little bit of training, but I am going on holidays. This whole video series is about being a 9-to-5 worker and being able to fit triathlon training, regardless of what training that is, or even if you're just training for a cycle or a run, or just trying to generally stay fit. This is about working this around your everyday life. So whether that be your 9-to-5 or being able to let loose and just have a holiday every now and again, because this is an infinite game, as Simon Sinek would say. I know that's more of a business thing than your everyday life, but your health, your fitness, your hobbies, it's an infinite game. There's no finish line, which is kind of ironic when we're talking about racing. A race has a start line and a finish line. Or health, or life, or happiness doesn't have a finish line. You're going to hit some setbacks. You're going to be able to relax, eat a little bit of food, have a holiday. You haven't lost the game. You just get back on the horse when you get home. So I don't want to give myself too much excuses there and say, well, I'm on my holidays, so let's skip the run. Let's not work on the swimming. I do need to do that because this race is now 8 weeks time. So I need to do a little bit of work while I'm out there. But hey, let's see what we get. I'm going to go for as long as I can go. I am still on my holidays, so if I get too tired, I'm just going to stop. You'll probably see some footage now over the next couple of minutes of some sights that I've seen along the way. So I'm not going to kill myself out there. I'm just going to do a bit of an enjoyable run, try and get 5 to 10k in the legs and see what sights I see in the meantime. So, heck it, let's go. So now you've seen a couple of clips of my scenic run in Tenerife. So it's now a couple of days later, I'm back in Ireland trying to get back to training and realised that I actually forgot to do a rundown on how my run went in Tenerife. While I was there, I was working on my swimming. I didn't get on a bike, so I do need to go and do that this weekend. As you'll see here, I did manage to do 9 kilometers down the prom of Tenerife, which was pretty good going. I did have to stop to get a bottle of water in the middle of my run. So it was very hot, but like I said in the last clip, maybe I do need to do some heat training because the race I'm doing is in August. So hopefully we will be good weather here in Ireland. I'm just comparing the heat of the water in Tenerife would have been about 18 to 22 degrees predicted. I'm about to go to the lake here in Ireland, where it's predicted to be about 8 to 10 degrees. So it's going to be a little bit colder. I wasn't swimming with a wetsuit. I was swimming in a pool in Tenerife, so things are a little bit different. I will be in a wetsuit here. The weather's actually not bad, so it is a little bit warmer. Like I said, I think at the end of last week, I've started using an app for my swimming. So while in Tenerife a couple of days ago, I did my first session, which was 800 meters. Then I got out. I'm sticking to the app because it is telling me what to do. I'm not going to try and overdo it and try and do a kilometer just because I feel like I can. I do need to work up to that 1.9 kilometer distance. So I do need to stick to the program and just try and get some confidence in my swimming so that I can be sure that I survive this swim and get onto the bike in a couple of weeks' time. I had predicted at the start that I would do 12 videos and we would document 12 weeks. This week with me being away, it was always going to be a little bit slower. I'm now kind of 1 week behind on my training. So we're now about 8 weeks out, even though this is the third video of the series. So I'm just going to keep trying to tip away on the swimming. I definitely made some progress while out there in a nice pool. I was more encouraged to get in the water. I have got an action camera which should arrive in the next week, so that'll be for next week's video, and I will be able to document some of my swimming. While in Tenerife, I was on beaches where people were tanning topless, so probably would have been frowned upon to get the camera out. And then I was in the hotel pool where there's families running around, so getting the camera out was not appropriate, so I needed to just focus on my swimming. But now it's time to go and see what the water in Ireland is like. So without any further ado, let's go. So I've come down to the lake close enough to my house, and needless to say, it's not been a raving success because I'm back in the car. I got out. It's really choppy. I'll show you a video now in a few minutes of what the water looks like. It's really choppy. Honestly, the race would be cancelled if there was a race on here today, or at least to be shortened to a shorter distance, which would be great for me to not have to do 2 kilometers in water. But I got out. I did 400 meters, which is half the training I was supposed to do today, so I guess I'm gonna have to come out tomorrow and try and do the other 400 meters. Hopefully later in the week it's going to be less choppy, or I'll just pay to go to a swimming pool. My gym is still under construction, so I don't have a pool close to me, and I don't know if I'll be renewing my membership in the meantime. I'm going to be out swimming, running, cycling, so I'm going to be doing outdoor training, and I do have a personal trainer close to our house that does classes in the morning, so I've been doing those. So I'm keeping up my fitness and strength training just so that I don't get injured while I'm out cycling and running, and now swimming too. So I'm gonna have to come back down here to the lake and try and see if I can continue doing my training. I did manage to do one training earlier in the week when I was in a different country in nice weather, and now I've done a 400 meter training here. So I'll check the weather when I get home and see if I'm gonna have to find a time to fit in the training somewhere. But right now it's way too choppy. There's actually nobody else around here, nobody else stupid enough to get in the water. But look, it is what it is. I gotta keep up my training somehow. It wasn't so bad. I managed to do 400 meters, but it's just, you can only breathe on one side because it's so choppy, and then I'm kind of pretty nervous about just going too far out, not being able to hit the ground if something was to go wrong and I was to get too tired and then just get stuck out in the middle of the water when there's absolutely nobody else around. So Alright, this week's video was always going to be a bit shorter. Well, probably would have been until I decided to record this section.
I was away on holidays. I was enjoying myself. I did work on my swimming, went for a run, which you've seen already in this video. But then I got home. You saw I went for a bit of a swim, which was choppy, very windy back in Ireland. And now I've been sick for the last 3 days, so didn't have to go back to work. Great. I got sick. I was basically on the couch with very little energy. So I haven't done any training in the last 3 days, but also sitting around not doing anything, feeling like I should be training. It kind of brings you to a funny place because you're like, well, time's running out. I'm not like, this race isn't getting any further away. So I need to be out training. But then I just remind myself, I'm not a pro. I am doing this for fun. And ultimately the road to 70.3 series is for those that are working a 9 to 5, just like me, that are trying to fit training around their busy schedule, your day job. I think they're the heroes in these triathlons, whatever the distance will be. Those that are working the 9 to 5, that aren't paid to be there, they don't have the gear paid for them, they're not being toured around the place, people aren't paying for their travel. These are the ones that are showing up after working the 9 to 5. You're doing either an early morning session or a nighttime session. I think that, well, they're the people that this series is for, and ultimately I'm trying to prove that even though I've got the full-time job and additionally I'm trying to document everything, it's possible to get there in a short period. But as time is going on now, I'm 4 weeks into a 12-week program. The race is now 8 weeks from today, or well, not exactly from today, but thankfully the race I'm doing, the Celtic Warrior, they do have options. So there is a sprint triathlon, an Olympic distance, and what they call the gauntlet, being the 70.3 distance. They have options that I could do. I can shorten my distance if it comes to that. And it is kind of leaning towards that at the minute, because my swim, as I've told you, I haven't shown you a whole lot of footage of me swimming. My swimming's getting a lot better. But if I'm to do a race in 8 weeks' time, I really need to work on my swimming, which means there's going to be a sacrifice when it comes to the bike and the run. So can I get up to the distance of cycling 90 kilometers on a bike, or going out and doing a half marathon after that? And as time's going on, I guess it's getting a little bit less likely that I'm going to be able to achieve that in 12 weeks, which, as I said, I'm not a pro, so it is totally fine for me to miss on the first swing. The fact that I'm doing a video series would imply that I need to do the work, and that was why I put the video series out there, is because it will give me accountability. I may have said in one of the earlier videos that my wife and most of my friends aren't into triathlon. They don't get why I'm doing this thing. I've been into running kind of recreationally, not very good at it, but I've been doing it on and off because I think it's great. It saves me on therapy, I suppose. Just to clear the head, just to get out there. Often I'll actually go without music. I'll just listen to a podcast or go out without headphones altogether, just to clear the head. And even when you're on holidays, I don't know if people are going to take this advice, but I like, when I'm on holidays, to go out, run down the prom, get to see the place pretty quickly. But you get like loads of nice sights and stuff, and clears the head. I think it's really good for you. Most people in my life don't understand that and don't relate to that in any way, but it works for me. So when I've got into triathlon, people said, okay, look, running was one thing, but the triathlon now, they can't get on board with. So I basically have nobody to talk to about it. So I did a half marathon about 2 months ago now, and I was pretty happy. Well, I wasn't best pleased with my time. It was like a 2-hour half marathon. I did the first half in 1 hour. I went out slow because my sister-in-law was doing the race as well. I may have told us in the last video. And she was going for 2 hours. So I thought, okay, she has more experience than I do. I'll just go with her time. So I ran the first hour with her. I'm speeding through it now in case I did tell you on the last one. Then I ran the second half in 45 minutes. But then I got home and I was kind of reasonably happy with my 1:45, and I was ready for everybody to ask, how did you get on? Did you do well? Most people just said, fair play to you. Good job. Can't believe you did a half marathon. I'd never be able to do that. So don't do it for anybody other than yourself. And ultimately, I'm not doing this triathlon for anybody other than myself to try and prove that I can do it. So I'm not going to beat myself up if I don't do the 70.3 in 8 weeks' time and I do downgrade to an Olympic distance. And I think that's the advice I would give to anyone that's going to watch this series in the future, whether it is a triathlon or it's just a race, a swim, bike, or a run. You do your thing, and if you fall short the first time, that's okay. It just means you get to go and do it again, and you get to keep training, and hopefully meet some nice people along the way. So for me, while I've been sick for the last few days, I've been kind of beating myself up and thinking that I'm going to fail. And putting out the video series was to give me accountability, and now I think, okay, well, it was to give me accountability because then I can inspire other people that, okay, if you give yourself the time, you can go and do it. And now I'm falling short, which would teach them to fall short as well, and that's okay. But the more I think about it, I think it's fine. Fall short the first time, it just means you get to go and try and do it again. All that is to say, don't beat yourself up if you're like me and you have a 9 to 5 and you're trying to do this for fun after hours just to challenge yourself. Don't forget that it is for fun. If you're not a pro and you're not getting paid to do it, you're doing it for yourself. You're just trying to beat your previous time. And I guess I would give the advice is if you've never done a marathon like me, don't start with a marathon. Maybe start with a 5K or a 10K or a half marathon. So I have worked my way up. I still haven't done a marathon, but I've done a half marathon. I've done 5Ks. I've actually never done a 10K. I mean, competitively or as part of a park run, but I've done a 10K in training. So running is my thing. So you probably won't be on my level at running, or maybe you're going to be a whole lot better than me at running. I've no doubt you're going to be a whole lot better than me at swimming. On the bike, look, I can do a 20K. The longest cycle I've actually done is a 35K. So if I was to try and do a half Ironman or a 70.3 distance triathlon, I would be cycling a whole lot further than I've ever cycled before. I'm not giving up on that goal. I will eventually do a 70.3, but it is looking less likely that that's going to be in 8 weeks' time. I'm still on target to do the Olympic distance. Like I said, it's going to come with a sacrifice to my bike and my run. So the swim is not a whole lot longer doing a 70.3 because I'd be going from a 1.5 kilometer swim to a 1.9k swim. So that jump isn't massive. But if I'm going to be able to swim a 1.5k, it means I need to be in the water a lot. And the Irish weather doesn't always agree with somebody that's trying to train for a triathlon because the roads are wet. When the roads are wet, it's probably not good to be out cycling. And if it's windy, it's not good to be in the water. And it's also not pleasant to be out running or cycling in the rain. But you got to do what you got to do. As long as I continue to make it fun, and I hope that should be the priority in this video series as well, is to just enjoy the process, because in triathlon, there's always age groups. You can do this for as long as you want, as long as you can stay healthy and fit and stay out of injuries. So I am only in my early 30s by the grand scheme of things. I'm young enough to continue working on this for the next decade to get to that goal. So I'm still on the road to 70.3, but it is going to be a little bit longer than I would like, and that's fine. I guess once you reach your goal, what do I do after that? Probably have to go for a full Ironman, which compete would be a lot of time. It's a big commitment. I'm going to have to make a whole lot more sacrifices than the sacrifices I'm currently making. In one way, I wanted to finish this series and say, well, it's actually not that hard to do a 70.3. If you really commit yourself for 12 weeks, you can do it. And a lot of people out there are going to be very happy that there's good reason people train for 6 months or a year at least to prepare for that before they can do it. And I'm inadvertently proving that that's true, and that's not good, not a massive surprise to me that it does take that long to get ready, because especially when you've got your 9 to 5, nobody's paying me to be there. And when I'm busy in work or I get sick and I hit a setback and I lose a week, then suddenly you're trying to do it in 10 or 11 weeks, which is not good. We have various other things that will come up in our life as well, that it's not going to be perfect. I'm not in a rush. I don't have to get it done in the next 8 weeks, but I do have the goal of getting the Olympic distance, and I think that'll be a lot of fun. I think I can do 1,500 meters open water in 8 weeks' time. I am using an app that's going relatively well. I haven't done basically anything. I barely walked. I do have a dog, so I've walked in the last week, but I haven't ran. I have not touched that bike that's behind me, and my wetsuit has remained dry since I took that one swim 4 days ago now, which doesn't seem that long ago, but 4 days without training when you've got a big race coming up is not acceptable. So we'll get there eventually, and if you want to be part of that ride, do subscribe, do like the video, do reach out. You'll find my social media on my YouTube channel as well. If you want to reach out to me there, ask me any questions. And by all means, if you've got advice on how to get through a 70.3 or any sort of an Ironman, or teach me a little bit about swimming, reach out. I will be very, very grateful. So that's all for now. See you in the next one, guys.